Good morning, and welcome to our worship service at First Unitarian Society of Ithaca. Here we gather, nurturing our connections, seeking inspiration, and embracing the changing seasons. My name is Kimari Johnson, and I am the Celebration Associate for today. Thank you so much for joining us, those of you who are here in person, and those of you watching online. We are so glad you are here with us. Please check our website for more information about how to create connections. If you'd like to receive updates describing opportunities for engagement, please email a request to office@uuithaca.org. Newcomers are especially invited to visit our website and complete a newcomer form on the homepage. For our announcements today, please note the Religious Exploration Program would like to invite families, children, and any other community members who would like to join us to come to Cass Park Playground at 12:30 today for a play date and parents group. Next Saturday, November 20th, the RE program invites you to come to a fall bonfire at Don and Rita Barber's at 3:30. Thank you so much, Don and Rita, for hosting. All ages are welcome. Look for more information in the RE section of the weekly announcements. And the youth group for ages 12 and up will meet next Sunday, November 21st, from 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. in the annex. No signups are required. Our service this morning is being live streamed from our sanctuary in downtown Ithaca and will be available for later viewing as well on our YouTube channel. Our speaker today is Elton Hall. Elton and Kathy Hall were married by Kathy's Unitarian minister in 1961. Elton has been involved in numerous congregations over the years, most actively in Boise, Idaho. He served as president of the board of the Pacific Northwest District as districts were transitioning into regions. He and Kathy joined FUSIT in 2017, where he now serves on the board. I would like to now invite Steve Hand to come light our chalice this morning. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. A Place of Belonging and Caring by Reverend Kimberly Tomzak Carlson. It is not by chance that you arrived here today. You have been looking for something larger than yourself. Inside of you, there is a yearning, a calling, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring. Through your struggles, someone nurtured you into being, instilling a belief in a shared purpose, a common yet precious resource that belongs to all of us when we share. And so you began seeking a beloved community, a people that does not put fences around love, a community that holds its arms open to possibilities of love, a heart home to nourish your soul and share your gifts. Welcome home, welcome to worship.
Good morning, friends. It is such a joy to be here with you this morning. And whether you are here in the sanctuary or watching from your own home, I'm glad to share this time with you. Since we have invited members of our community back into our sanctuary, we have heard from many of you asking to please be able to sing together again, to lift our voices as one. There are increased risks to singing together. There are risks to being here in person, and we are taking the necessary precautions to minimize those risks and keep us all safe. So after considerations of our spiritual needs for connection and togetherness, we would like to invite you to join us in singing our opening hymn. We would ask that you do it piano to mezzo piano. Please rise in body or spirit for hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Thank you. Singing with you this morning is such a joy. Let's take a look and see what's in our Wonder Box today. I found this pair of headphones. We use headphones or earbuds to listen to music and stories. Have you ever listened for a message that isn't spoken out loud? Maybe it felt like someone or something was speaking to you, but wasn't really there. It might be from remembering someone who has died. This is a great way to think about our monthly theme, Holding History, because one of the key ways we use Hold History is to remember that people die, but love doesn't die. We hold fond memories in our hearts that make us smile. We also sometimes feel like there are messages or voices in the ear of the heart. These are the memories of loved ones and pets who have died that can guide us, inspire us, and support us with the memory of their love. In our UU faith, we hold history in memories of our loved ones who have died. And I want to take a moment to acknowledge that loss and grief isn't solely felt when a loved one passes away. There are other ways to lose someone. This summer, our settled minister, Reverend Margaret, ended her time here with us. And that parting is another kind of loss. And it may even feel like experiencing a death. She was a vibrant, integral part of our community for 4 years, and now she is gone, with no contact, not even on social media. And we need to allow ourselves to mourn this loss, to give space to the very real feelings that accompany it, which may range from sadness to anger to everywhere in between. So today, we're going to explore the ways in which holding tight to the memories of loved ones allows them to comfort and guide us still. I have a book here that I'm going to read to you that will help us explore the importance of death and love and loss. This book is about prayers and how prayers can help with the complicated emotions that often arise in times of loss. Does everyone know what a prayer is? People do it in a lot of different ways, but a good way to think about it is expressing your feelings needs, and hopes to the universe. This is Granddad's Prayers of the Earth by Douglas Wood. When I was little, my granddad was my best friend. Being with him always made the world seem just right. Granddad and I liked to go for walks in the woods together. We didn't walk very far, or very fast, or very straight. Granddad, and while we walked, I would ask him questions about things I wasn't sure of. Why is it, Granddad? I would ask. And what if? And does it ever? One day, I asked my granddad about prayers. For a long time, Granddad was quiet. He didn't say anything until we came to the tallest trees in the forest. And then he answered with a question. "Did you know, boy," he whispered, "that trees pray?" I listened closely, but I couldn't hear them. "See how they reach for the sky," he said. "They reach and reach for clouds and sun and moon and stars, and what else is reaching for heaven but a prayer?" I thought about the trees and kept listening for them, and while I thought, I sat down on an old mossy rock. "Rocks pray too," said Granddad. "Pebbles and boulders and old weathered hills. They are still and silent, and those are two important ways to pray." I thought hard about the rocks. I picked up a pebble and stuck it in my pocket. We walked a little farther and came to a small stream. The water splashed and sparkled, and tiny fish hovered in the shadows. "Do streams pray too, Granddad?" I asked. "Streams pray too," he answered, "and lakes and rivers and waters of all kinds. Sometimes they pray silently, like the rocks. They lie still and calm, reflecting clouds or birds or sunsets or the first evening star. Sometimes they pray with movement, flowing across the face of the earth, giving themselves to the ocean, giving themselves to the sky, and beginning their journey all over again. Sometimes waters pray with laughter, chuckling to their friends the rocks, and sometimes they pray by dancing, leaping into the air and falling back again." "These are all ways to pray," said Granddad, "but there are more. The tall grass prays as it waves its arms beneath the sky, and flowers pray as they breathe their sweetness into the air. The wind prays as it whispers and moans and sighs. It is saying a prayer and singing a hymn at the same time." A bird prays when it sings the first song of morning, and it prays in that silent moment just before it sings. And the robin's last song at sundown is an evening prayer. "All the beings of the world pray," said my granddad, "as they slip through the forest or sparkle in the water, as they climb mountainsides or soar into the clouds or burrow into the earth. Each living thing gives its life to the beauty of all life, and that gift is its prayer." Then we were quiet, my granddad and I. He was watching something far away, and I was thinking about all that he had said about rocks and trees and grass and birds and flowers. Finally, I asked him to tell me about the prayers of people. Granddad smiled and ruffled my hair. "People pray some of the most wonderful prayers of all," he said. "Bending down to smell a flower can be a prayer," said my granddad. "Quietly watching the sunrise, feeling the slow turning of the earth, and saying hello to a new day is one of the oldest prayers. Standing in a snowy woods on a winter day and watching your breath become part of the breath of the world is a way to pray. Making music or painting a picture can be a prayer. Holding hands around the table with family and friends, remembering all that holds us together, and giving thanks is one of the greatest prayers. Sometimes, said Granddad, people pray when they are sad or sick or lonely or have a problem too big to carry by themselves. They may say words that are learned from their fathers or mothers or granddads or great-grandmothers. But often they must find their own words. The important thing to remember is that the words will always be right if they are real and true and come from the heart. We had walked far enough, and Granddad said it was time to go back, but I had one last question. Are our prayers answered, Granddad? I asked. Granddad smiled. Most prayers are not really questions, he said. And if we listen very closely, a prayer is often its own answer. Like the trees and winds and waters, we pray because we are here, not to change the world, but to change ourselves. Because it is when we change ourselves that the world is changed. My granddad and I went for many walks after that one, and I listened for the prayers of the earth, but was never sure I heard them. Then one day, my granddad was gone. And no matter how hard I prayed, he didn't come back. He couldn't come back. I prayed and prayed and prayed until I couldn't pray anymore. And so for a long time, I didn't. And the world seemed dark and lonely without my granddad in it. Until one day I went for a walk. I found a big rock under some tall trees and sat down. Overhead the branches swayed and a breeze whispered in the leaves. I heard a stream flowing nearby and a robin singing from a honeysuckle bush. And I heard something else too, something in the sounds of breezes and birds and water. I heard prayers. The earth was praying, just like my granddad said. So I joined in. Thank you, I prayed, for tall trees and sweet flowers, for still rocks and singing birds, and especially for my granddad. And as I prayed, something changed, and my granddad seemed somehow near. And for the first time in a long time, the world seemed just right. In our story today, a boy and his grandfather reflected on prayers. And as they do, they tell us that one of the ways we hold on to history is by remembering the ones we love in prayers. By remembering that love, the world can seem right again. I hope all is right in your world, and that, like the trees, you are able to lift your arms up in prayer, to listen and connect, and to be filled with love, unending.
In a spirit of reverence, love, and care, we take time now to bear witness to some of the joys and sorrows of our community. If you have a joy or sorrow you would like to have shared, please send them to joysandsorrows@uuithaca.org by 9 a.m. on Sunday. And bear in mind that our service is live streamed when you consider the private nature of these joys and sorrows. We want to share those events that call for our prayers and support, our praise and celebration. We have caring thoughts for the family of Jean Jordanak, who passed away on Tuesday, November 9th. She was a longtime member of church who served as RE director and chair of Babies First for many years. She was a quiet, effective leader, teacher, and friend to many. I have a joy because Allie Richards turned 9 this past Thursday. I also have another joy because I have bought the updated version of the Anna Comstock book for our library in honor of our intrepid librarian, Barbara Shue. This is apparently the second copy we will have in the library, so we hope you all get to enjoy it. For those we are holding in our thoughts, in our hearts, and perhaps in our prayers, let us call those names out loud into this community and into this space of healing and hope right now. We extend loving kindness to all in our world, and let us not forget to extend loving kindness to ourselves. Today, tomorrow, and beyond, may our hands be outstretched in kindness, and let us keep showing up in our lives and each other with an open heart no matter what. Love and courage to us all. Blessed be. Amen.
Our meditation this morning will be in song. We started learning this song last week. I am finding my way back to now. And this morning we'll have a couple options. I'll keep singing the melody. You could just sing along with me as you figure it out. You can, after a few times around, choose a little bit of a harmony, which Emily will lead, which is just up a little bit, up a third for musicians in the group. And then we're going to add a descant. Don't worry, Kathy, no cannons yet.
And I'll drop out of that upper harmony to go to the descant, but you can keep singing if that part calls to you.
I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding am
I am
finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now. I am finding my way. I am finding my way. I am finding my way back to now.
Each week, we take an offering to sustain the important ministries and programs of this congregation and its presence in Ithaca. The giving information is shown in the order of service. For those watching remotely, the giving information will appear on your screen during the offertory music. Giving to the plate is important. It's a symbol of our gratitude for this service and our ongoing commitment to support the work of this church. So please take a moment and give through either the text option, the giving button on the homepage of the website, or feel free to drop a donation into our Sunday offering collection box on the table near the parlor doors. Today is our sharing Sunday for the month of November, when the plate offering is shared with an organization in our community. We have moved sharing Sunday from the last Sunday of the month to today so that Phoebe Brown, co-founder of Mutual Aid Tompkins, can join us. Phoebe Brown is a longtime organizer and activist in the Ithaca area. She is the Central Regional Coordinator for Alliance of Families for Justice, which supports, empowers, and mobilizes families and individuals impacted by the criminal justice system to create a just world. She was just elected to the Ithaca Common Council to represent the 2nd Ward. Congratulations. And Ms. Brown is one of the founders of Mutual Aid Tompkins. She's a mother and a grandmother. Please welcome Ms. Brown.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I am thankful and humbled to be invited here to speak with you all today and to let you know about mutual aid. There's a lot of work that I do in this community, and so when the pandemic hit, a friend of mine was walking up State Street where my office is, and Josh Dolan and I was speaking, and it was like, oh, with this pandemic, what is something that we can do as a community? And we reached out to a group of people in the community and did a Zoom call. And so my first words to this group is that this mutual aid is not new. Black and brown people have been doing mutual aid since we arrived on the shores of Turtle Island. And so this is not new work. And also to remind many people that Black and brown people have been in a pandemic forever since we arrived. So this is not new and earth-shaking for us, but it is work that we know how to do well to survive through hardship. It's something we did very often, and so it was like, here's my answer. This is what I've been waiting for. So we came together and started thinking in ways of how we can help the community. And through cabinets, so my idea, I thought about the little cabinets that have the books, and I thought, wow, wouldn't it be nice if we could put food in cabinets and people can just come when they want. And we thought that's kind of small, and somebody decided to build a cabinet, which I am so happy to say I had the very first cabinet. My cabinet has expanded. It now has food, clothes, shoes, books, toys. You know, and so this idea of helping others through hard times really got the community involved. We were able to raise quite a bit of money to help people out in other situations, people who were dealing with housing, people who were dealing with being evicted, people who may have lost lights. And I also went out to TCAT and asked for bus passes and started a program, pretty much, not a program, but started asking the community to give me gift cards for people. Because the cabinets are beautiful and nice, but there's some people who can't use that food. And I believe it's really empowering for people to be able to go in the stores and get what they want. So I was able to gather up or get together almost 200 gift cards for the community. And so mutual aid came out of a conversation with two people who invited more people, and that's what community does, right? That's what we do. But what happened that was amazing, and I don't say this to be, raunchy or anything, but I have to say this was an opportunity for the privileged to learn what it's like to not have privilege, to not move when you want to move, not go when you want to go. Can't walk in a store without a mask. You can't go visit your children that may be in another state. This is something different for pretty much the dominant people, the race, white people, right? Let me stop trying to, because I'm usually pretty honest. You know, white people have not ever been able to be told, not you too, right? So I think this is an opportunity for us to understand. We can't understand what it's like to not have privilege as of people of color, but we can understand now what it's like to be told no, to be told that you can't leave your house, to be told that you can't interact with your loved ones when you want to, that you can't get on the plane when you want to. So this has been an opportunity. What I've been able to do throughout my life is learn when is an opportunity and when do I have to move. What do I have to do next? Who do I have to? So mutual aid had become just sort of like my, because I also lost privilege. I couldn't go when I wanted to, but what was so beautiful for me is like before I had my coffee, before I had anything, I mean, I'd be staggering, and the first thing I would do is get up, go outside, and look at my cabinet, and fix it up, and move it around. And the joy that came when neighbors began to bring other things to come by to have conversations. So what I did with my cabinet, because I'm probably the only one who have it right in front of her door, right? So I was able to meet people, sit and talk with people without masks, you know. I put out 2 chairs. So mutual aid has become sort of like my lifeline throughout this trying time in our community, but it only becomes trying if we choose for it to be trying. We also have to look always at the blessings from it. So there have been some blessings, right? I've gotten to know a lot of people in my community. I've been able to feel so humbled when people are so thankful for the clothing, and, you know, I can look out my window and, hey, some nights I hear them out there late. And so the idea of the cabinets, which was really warming for me, is that people who work during the day, who can't really get to the food pantries and different things, can come at any time and pick up stuff, right? So the idea of mutual aid had gotten a lot bigger than I thought it would. I just thought it would be a few little things, but we've become pretty much a staple in the community. However, I want us to always remember where that idea came from. It came from people who struggled to stay afloat. So now my big mission is to not just mutual aid. Let's take it from just surviving to thriving. How do we create other ideas in our communities to make sure the communities that will never, I can't say never, they have the hardest time thriving to thrive. So what I did was put out a GoFundMe and raised like $10,000. And what I did is I have also a group called Women Healing Mind, Body, and Spirit, where I would invite women once a month, and once a month I'd give $1,000 to one of the women so that they can thrive, right? So that they can pay past bills or also pay ahead. So we have to be real creative in our community. We know what we need to do. I wasn't called here, and I heard something earlier that said, we're not here by accident, right? This was ordained way long before me, right? That I sit here and share with you the love it feels when you're able to make sure that someone else is okay. How important it is to be able to go to sleep at night and look back over your day and said, I was the reason someone else was able to be okay today. And the beauty is the people who began to build relationships through this, you know. I don't know how long I'm supposed to be up here, right? But a thing happens when I get in front of a mic, right? I love it. All eyes on me. But, you know, if there are any questions, I'll stay around a little longer after. And if there's anything that you think I missed or didn't share, please let me know, right? And I'm just so humbled to be here in front of you today. So thanks for inviting me.
That was wonderful. It's great to see so many people walking up to give. Please join me in saying the offertory words in the service. May these gifts bring about connection, inspiration, and engagement within these walls and beyond. Today's reading comes from St. Paul, 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not charity, I am become as sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. Charity suffereth long, and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, doth not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil. Rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in truth. Beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Charity never faileth, but whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. When I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I am known. And now abideth faith, hope, and charity, these three. But the greatest of these is charity.
There's an old story, which may or may not quite be true, that when Navajos weave a carpet, they always weave in one little mistake so as not to offend the gods with perfection. The order of service today has a very innocent little mistake. This is beloved community, not blessed community. But since beloved community would be blessed, that's okay. Let me apologize for the archaic language of the King James Bible. It is what I was raised on, and its beautiful, sonorous language still speaks to me in ways that modern translations fail to do. Thank you for your indulgence. St. Paul's original language was simpler, but there is power here that does justice to his profound declaration. The charity in this passage is not just giving to those in need, physically, emotionally, mentally. It is love, a love that transcends personal sentiment, physical attraction, or the thrill of compatibility. It is the love that is implied in our first principle, putting our recognition of the inherent worth and dignity of every person into practice. For me, this reading from Corinthians sets out the foundation of a beloved community. Each of us belongs to multiple communities. There is a community which we did not choose, the families into which we were born. We may bind ourselves closely to that community or distance ourselves from it, though we can never completely escape it. And there are communities we had a hand in choosing, the community of the workplace, of our profession, and the communities in which we live, including the city, the region, state, and nation. And there is the great community which we cannot help but be a part of, the world. But there are communities which we entirely choose to join, the golf club, the dinner group, the philatelists, the sewing club, whatever. And then there is the beloved community, which in this case is the First Unitarian Society of Ithaca. Professor Raghavan Iyer, in his brilliant and relevant book, Parapolitics, says communities are effectively established by persons through voluntary activity, shared obligations, and the continuously rediscovered bonds among them. Keep that powerful phrase, continuously rediscovered, in mind. We are on the threshold of rediscovery. We call our community beloved because we not only freely choose to be part of it, but also because it is intentional. It has a vision. Yet that vision can be understood in many ways, seen in many perspectives. And it is a community through our voluntary activity and shared obligations, both of which we freely choose. And so it is natural to speak of love here. Love of family, love of friends, love of this community, love of all human beings. And in our joys and sorrows we heard this morning, we are indirectly reminded to love ourselves. But what is this love? Anyone who's had the privilege of teaching others knows something of this love. Those of us who have taught in schools, elementary, secondary, college, have had the rather unappetizing task of assigning grades. We all know bright, insightful, thoughtful students who did not do the work on which a grade is based. And we unsurprisingly find that we like some students and do not care so much for others. But any teacher worth her or his salt knows to set likes and dislikes aside when assigning grades. This level of maturity is required of teachers. Experience also demonstrates to us that grades are illusions. They report performances at a specific time and place and do not measure the potentials, capacities, or nature of the performer, much less the varying circumstances of that performance. Hence, there is stress in grading, for we know students may take them as objective characterizations of themselves as human beings and prophecies of their futures. Hence the anxiety associated with tests and the problem of low self-esteem. In a beloved community, we do not have to give grades, though we do have to embrace what is. Remember, prophecy is not predicting the future. It is speaking truth to power. It is saying what is. What is changes from moment to moment. So our embrace includes discernment and awareness. There is no passivity in a beloved community, since a beloved community is sustained only through support in thought, word, and deed. Well, we have come in our history to a test, or perhaps it should be called a pop quiz, though a very important one. We have suffered losses we did not anticipate. Loss of in-person connection due to the pandemic, loss of a minister, and resignation of an interim minister. We are left with ourselves. Like the emperor in the old children's story, we can no longer believe we are elegantly costumed. If we thought we were clothed in ministerial robes, we were not. In our case, we already know, and we did not have to have a child point out our condition. And we were not deceived by some cunning tailor, but by complex contingencies we did not and could not anticipate. We are, as a beloved community, naked. This will show in the coming months whether we are, in fact, clothed in the fine garments of love and vision or not. I believe we will find ourselves finely attired. We will move forward and rediscover our strength through a recognition of our long history and after disposing of 2 myths. For this history, we should all read Carol Common's History of FUSIT from 1865 to 1945. It has recently been published, is short and well written, and it is available from our office. In it, we will see that we are not in some unique situation unfamiliar to this church. In fact, we will see that this congregation has faced over the decades true crises of enormous proportions, including the burning down of its building. What one sees is the resilience of this community. What we feel is the nourishing strength of our community ancestors, encouraging us to move forward with hope and joy. Hope because we have vision, and joy because we have each other. Now to the myths. I call them myths because they are not true, but are sometimes taken as true, and of course, they contain a grain of truth. The first myth has been circulating in conversations over the past few months, is that we are a problem congregation. If this means that we have problems from time to time that we have not always fully resolved to the satisfaction of all, that's true. But that does not make us a problem congregation. I had the privilege of being president of the Pacific Northwest District just as districts were transitioning into regions. As such, I had the opportunity to attend numerous congregations of different sizes in Alaska, Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. Ours was a large district. I can tell you from direct experience that there are congregations we could use as models of joy and enthusiasm. And there are congregations that know what it really means to be a problem congregation. From personal experience, I know the difference, and we are not a problem congregation. Nor does the UUA think so, since it is well aware of these differences in congregations. So this myth should be put in the trash can of falsehoods. The first myth is about our reputation. The second myth is about ourselves, individually and collectively. It is the myth that if we only knew the whole story, if only the board were transparent, all would be resolved and closure would be achieved. The grain of truth is, of course, that if we know what is going on, we are less likely to succumb to wild speculation. The problem with speculation in human relationships and actions is that such speculation is tied to our dispositions, which can be optimistic or pessimistic, trusting or suspicious. In fact, this intimate connection between speculation, the stories we tell ourselves and one another about what is happening here or there, is what gives QAnon its power. We should avoid it. The reason we should rid ourselves of this myth is simple. We never know everything about anything. Something happens, and we are faced with a choice of how to respond to it. Just as in a family where every person knows every other person well, mysteries remain. Having been married now for 61 years, I am married to a mystery. And in a community, there is never a full account of what has happened. We hear only one, or perhaps two sides of a story, but there are more sides. We get facts, but never all the facts. We may develop theories, but they are never completely verifiable or falsifiable, because we do not know all the thoughts, motives, wishes, or concerns of everyone involved. and we do not know all the circumstances, physical, emotional, psychological, surrounding what a person does or says. We never have the whole story. Yet we must make choices, and they invariably involve risks, sometimes inconsequential, sometimes significant. Thriving as a beloved community requires certain attitudes and responses on the part of its members. One response is stepping back from blame when the story is complex, as it almost always is. Another is not leaping to judgments, for quick judgments are judgmentalism, which very often errs. On the positive side, a beloved community flourishes when there's a great deal of trust and forgiveness. A beloved community assumes that everyone is trying their best and sometimes failing to be their best, yet are always trying. Without trust, the community fragments, and what were differences become divisions. The emperor of our story requires trust as the basic garment. Otherwise, he remains naked. Forgiveness cinches that garment so that outer clothing can be donned. All this is up to us, and no minister can make these requirements go away. A minister can guide, even lead, a congregational community, but she or he cannot make it beloved. A minister can inspire and draw us to the better angels of our nature again and again, and often the minister can offer insightful perspectives on who we are and what we are trying to do. The minister can be a focus, but cannot survive if made a target. A minister cannot redeem us. As you use, we reject original sin and therefore the need for a Savior to save us. We should not expect a minister to do that. We do it for ourselves. And we have the materials at hand to be an authentic, beloved community. We created both our mission and our vision as a community. No one dictated it to us. Our mission is to create connections, find inspiration, and engage the world. Excuse me. Short, sweet, and essential. Essential to a beloved community. And we have a vision, though we may not quite remember all its parts. That does not matter, for we have our 7 principles, which spell out our aspirations and so suffuse our vision. We may not quite remember all those principles. How many can repeat them word for word and in order? But we need remember only the first and the last. For if we take them seriously, the others emerge naturally. The first principle is the inherent worth and dignity of every person. The last is respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Here is our faith, so wonderfully expressed in the story Emily read to us this morning. It does not matter that we interpret and understand these principles differently and at different times. Nor does it matter that we may have doubts. For real faith can entertain doubts, since confronting those doubts deepens our understanding and strengthens our faith. Our mission, vision, and faith are the elegant clothes that truly dress the emperor, which is, of course, our beloved community. As we care for this beloved community, we often hear references to the 3 T's, the most basic tools in our toolbox for building and maintaining our beloved community. They are time, talent, and treasure. For each of us, 2 of these tools are fairly easy to handle. We each have obligations, commitments, and needs, and so we can figure out how much time we have to donate to this community. and each have some degree of treasure and can figure out how much we can give. Both of these are a function of priorities. How important is this community to each of us? If we are consumers, taking but feeling no need to give, then we do not have a beloved community. For such a community is defined by participation, not consumption. The church is more like a family dinner, which all help to make, than like a restaurant. And FUSIT has always offered a banquet, or at least a smorgasbord. The third T, talent, is more difficult to figure out because it is deeply tied to our individual psychologies. Some people feel that they have nothing to offer in the way of leadership and involvement, often because they have no special skills, cyber skills, organizational skills, building skills, and so on. Most of us are not expert plumbers, electricians, computer whizzes, or internet ninjas. Perhaps we should call this sense that we have nothing to offer the third myth that has to go in the trash can. Each of us has been and is a leader in multiple ways. We have been in the workforce, raised children, negotiated family issues, looked in on a sick neighbor, helped out at some charity. That is what talent is, the ability to help. And a beloved community needs everyone's help to be healthy and whole. There is a lot I cannot do because of age, incompetence, and lack of skills. But I can write a note, make coffee for in-person gatherings, make a phone call, share an idea, and much else. Along with more technical skills, all these basic activities are needed. And we each can step up and offer to do something. Let our administrator know, Michelle, office, right? Or let the ever-seeking Beth Howard and Fred Belfour, Beth, where are you? There she is, way in the back. Know that you're willing to help, even if for a short time. And they will find a place that fits you, your talent, and your time. In the meantime, the board has asked you for your ideas through the open question it has sent out in the newsletter, weekly announcements, and emails. The questions will change throughout the church year, but right now it is, in these pandemic times and beyond, how can we as a congregation connect more deeply, inspire healing, and engage our members? Answer in 12 words or less. Just a sentence. But just like in a raffle, submit as many answers as you like. Your suggestions will help the board and this community move forward. Of course, not every suggestion can be acted on immediately, but your answers will reveal our needs, priorities, and direction for traveling together. So, it is exam time. Our history shows that we are prepared for it, though we did not know in advance exactly what the question would be. But here it is, and we must take it. The textbook is gone, the minister's gone, and we are the monitors of the exam which we cannot avoid taking. Will we fail it, muddle through in some confused way, or excel? If we have faith in ourselves, knowing full well that we are not perfect and will make mistakes, and if we have faith in each other, knowing full well that they are not perfect and may make mistakes, we will pass this exam with flying colors. We have before us the sacred opportunity to show that our mission is not just words, but can be embodied with joy and seriousness of purpose. Our vision can uplift us individually and together, and we can forge ahead with the confidence that only a beloved community can muster. Though challenging, this is a precious moment in our long history. If we trade speculation for reflection, if we transform judgment into discernment, if we live into the openness, inclusivity, respect, and yes, love, we can replace myth and doubt with hope and conviction. I am confident that we will make this time a bright light in our history and a beacon for our future. This beloved community deserves no less. May it be so.
We invite you to stand in body or spirit for our closing hymn, which you will find in your teal hymnal. I see people looking around confusedly. It looks like Beth is bringing some from the back. They're going to pass those out, and then it will be number 1064, Blue Boat Home. Thank you, Beth.
I'll play a long introduction.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far
The second error in today's program is that I was given the privilege of selecting the hymns, and there's only 2 hymns in the Unitarian hymnals that make me tear up. Spirit of Life is the first one, and Blue Boat Home is the second. Sorry. With the vision and mission that we have made our own, individually and as a beloved community, we look to the future with faith, hope, that charity which is love that transcends likes and dislikes to embrace us all, and indeed the whole human family and all life. We can be a light in the world that desperately needs light, and we can be a light to ourselves and each other. This is our true work, and we take it up once again now. May we go in peace.